Have you ever had those days where your driver's working really, really well, but then your irons suddenly stop working, or suddenly your irons start working and then the driver stops? It's so frustrating, isn't it? We've all been there. Well, today I've got something super, super exciting. It's almost like, you've watched a great movie and you just want to share it with everyone. This is something I really want to share because it's working with all of my students, and it's something that transfers into your driver and your irons and will really help you improve the consistency of your strike and the distance and accuracy that you hit each club. Now, before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first lessons of mine, please consider subscribing. I release videos just like this one every single week to try and help you improve your game. Plus, you never have to remember a thing. I'll always put a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below. So let's start with your irons first, and then what we'll do is we'll drift into your drive. It kind of works for every club in the bag. So my students love a process. They love to be able to kind of start from a simple basis and build something that is repeatable over and over again, and this really does that. So let me start by, first of all, looking at what the trail arm does in your golf swing. When you're swinging through, what we're doing is we are creating a circle around the body here at roughly a 45-degree angle. So as I swing the club back here, my trail arm is helping to form this 45-degree angle here. It works back to the golf ball here and then works back up on, again, on a roughly 45-degree angle. Now, knowing that and picturing that is the first stage, okay? This is the first stage. Once you've got the picture of this beautiful 45-degree circle, the next stage is always to start, I like to say, with the end in mind. So what I love my students to do is get a sense of what they're supposed to be doing at the moment or through the moment of impact. What is the strike supposed to feel like? And then we work back from there. So for that, I'm going to get Leo in. So Leo, do you want to jump in for a second? This is my videographer. He's going to help me out with this little plan. So if you stand there, Leo, just to the side, that's it, fantastic. Now, this is the sense I want you to kind of feel. A lot of times when people are struggling with consistency of strike and distance is they are literally doing this. You are throwing the club at the golf ball here, just with your hands and your arms. The best players, they use their entire right side, or in my term, trail side, if you're a left-hander, through the shot. So what I'm going to do here is this. If I was to throw my hand at here, I've got a certain amount of power. But watch what happens when I do this. Notice where my elbow is. My elbow's out here, now it's in. But watch what happens here. Watch my right side. Now I'm pushing my entire right side through. This is giving me extra power through the shot and control. Cheers, Leah.
That's right.
Fantastic. Just as a great video. So imagine against the wall here, and what you're going to do is you're going to feel what impact's like. So if I put a club down with an iron, we want to strike the ball, then the turf. So the angle of the shaft is slightly further forward, and notice here we've got an angle in this kind of trail wrist here, my right wrist. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push, look, this through, and I'm continuing the circle with what? Not just my arm, but my entire right side, look, is turning through that shot. This is giving me stability and it's giving me power. Super, super important. So this is what I do with my students, first of all, is give you a sense of what you're supposed to do for impact. Start there. Now, you could, if you wanted, you could actually just hit some shots from there. You could take that motion there, and what I love my students to do at the start is to really push, really feel like this trail hand is pushing almost down on the shaft here, and it's getting ready to do what? Push through impact. Push through impact, not flick through impact. So you start with that initially. Maybe you just hit a few shots, kind of feeling that motion before we start to go into the second part of this process. So you'll notice on that shot that my backswing was pretty short, and it was a much shorter swing, which kind of builds into how we develop this for you going forward for your irons and your driver. Now, ask yourself this. If I want my trail side to feel like it's rotating and really feel like the power's coming through here, it's not just kind of wishy-washy and flicky, what do you think your right side here, your trail side, has to do in the backswing? Have a think about it. If I want to rotate it powerfully through impact, what does this trail side, the entire trail side, need to do? Well, it needs to what? It needs to rotate, doesn't it? It needs to move, this trail shoulder, this trail hip needs to move back to help you create this 45-degree circle, but also load the power. So now look, you can what? You can turn it straight back down on that golf ball. So this is super, super important, is to imagine your trail side. If you can feel this motion, here, this rotation, if you didn't have any rotation on the way back, which I see with so many people who slice, they don't have any rotation, they pick the club up and then they have lots of this right side. Now they come across the ball and slice it and top it, you name it. But if you take this trail side, rotate it back, just unlock it all here, rotate it back on this 45 degree, help you create this 45-degree circle, now you're really ready to go. But there's one piece here which I'm missing, and this is, as you're doing this, what I would love for you to do is remember this is a circle. I want you to imagine your trail arm. This worked amazingly for Laura the other day, one of my students. So ultimately, I want you to imagine you've got this arm, it's just sitting there beautifully, right? I want this trail arm to remain fairly straight, not rod straight, but fairly straight here. Why? Because most of the time I'm seeing with golfers, this has been overly flexed here, and now you've ruined this entire circle. Now from here, you've got no way of hitting the golf ball. Just imagine you're keeping it out here. You're gonna create this beautiful circle look. The entire golf swing is almost created, look, with the trail arm going back and going through. That's all I want you to do. So you're unlocking this trail side, but you're also simultaneously keeping this trail arm here soft, yes, but you're going to feel like it's fairly straight, and that means that the swing's going to feel very, very short. And all you're doing now is rotating back to the golf ball here, and then look, you just keep pushing that trail arm on the arc through the impact area here. So it keeps it really, really, really simple. Okay, let's start with that. Then we'll go into drive and see what you do with the driver. So we get ourselves set, we feel the pressure here, what we're trying to do through impact. We might even rehearse this pushing through on the arc. And then all I'm going to do here is again, I'm going to imagine almost like I want to imagine my club's only going to go to 9, my right arm's only going to go to 9 o'clock. In reality, I know it will go a bit further. It does with everybody. I know everyone has some flex even when they try this, but because there's so much like this is just a wonderful feeling. So no matter what it feels like, you're probably going to feel like it's rod straight, but the reality is it will always bend, okay? So just picture that motion now. Right side working back onto the golf ball, and we're going to create a very, very simple circle. Just like that. That is absolutely ripped, okay? So let's now see how this works with driver. So I said, didn't I, that this works with driver and you don't have to change very much, and that is exactly it. So with driver, the ball position is now much, much more forward. So as opposed to getting a complete downforce on that golf ball, we're now catching the ball a little bit later, but we still want to have this entire trail side pushing, look, through that shot on the arc, creating the other side of this 45-degree circle. It's just that the ball is a bit further forward. And one thing I didn't add with the irons, which I certainly is really, really important, is that when you are keeping this trail arm what feels like fairly straight, so you're creating the beautiful circle here, watch out for a really big mistake. Initially, when I was giving Laura this, she was kind of keeping the right arm almost look facing downwards. Where's my elbow here? It's almost outwards. So she was kind of trying to do it like this. Now the thing is you've got to imagine that this circle works on a 45-degree angle. So as it does that, what does my trail side all do? It's rotating. Where's my elbow? It starts here and it's still almost pointing, look, down towards the ground. Why? Because it's working on this arc. Very, very important, okay? So we drive it, imagine the same thing. Look at this here. If I get myself set, I'm going to imagine this trail side here, just pushing, feeling that pressure. I want this type of strike. And then from here, if I did a mini rehearsal, I want to imagine this right side pushing through the shot. I don't want this. I don't want the body. I don't be trying to do this either. I want the whole right side of my body turning down through that shot, okay? So let's have a look at this in action. So we driver, imagine that trail arm fading, almost swinging to 9 o'clock here. But I know it's going to go further, feel like it's pushing outwards there, and then I'm going to create that circle from the right side here. I'm going to turn that right side and the club face straight look down onto that golf ball. Absolute belter. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to look after, feel impact first, stage number one, feel it. Feel the right side putting pressure on that golf ball. Create the circle with the trail arm here. Literally start to create that circle, working around. Start off feeling like it's actually straight, yeah? It's working on a straight arm. We're not letting it flex too much. Everybody flexes it too much. Put yourself on camera, and my bet is that you're pulling it behind here, you're flexing too much here. Really keep that width. And for me, one of the feelings that, the feedback I got from my students was, if I'm here, I really feel powerful. I can feel my right lat inside here. I can feel my right leg wanting to push in here. Well, if you think about it, I just kind of want to get back there. So if I start to let this go all over the place, that's hard. But if I was to now keep that and go, I've still got that powerful position. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that powerful and turn it, look, down towards that golf ball. But if I let this start to drift and move around, that's going to be super difficult for you, okay? So I hope you love this as much as my students do. Like I say, it works for your irons, it works for your drive, it works for your fairwoods. Give it a go out, share it with somebody who you think is going to need some help with their distance and ball striking. I know it'll super help. Look, if you want to see a wonderful drill that works fantastically with this, okay, so you can do this maybe on the practice ground, check this video out right here. It's an absolute belter. And of course, look, if you're new to the channel, press that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And of course, I've put a free practice plan in the description box below so you never have to remember a thing. Till next week, have a wonderful golfing week.